Start. Welcome to our webinar with Czarnowski Beer and Zoom. We will start in 1 minute. Okay, so I think we're ready to get started. Welcome to our Czarnowski and Beer sponsored webinar. Joining us, a representative from Zoom, Regev, and we'll get started on today's topic of how to run a hybrid annual meeting. Just a little bit about Czarnowski and Beer. We're an accounting and auditing firm servicing the industry for about 35 years. Myself, that's me. I'll be speaking. Avi Zanjirian. I've been part of the firm since 2007. You can read my bio on your spare time. Also joining us today, special guest Adi Regev is the group product manager for enterprise and financial services at Zoom, and Adi will be adding valued information on the peripherals and how to use Zoom and other outside services for running a hybrid annual meeting. So kind of just jumping right in, we've been in the world, we've been using the virtual methodologies of getting together, whether it be Zoom, Google Meet, WebEx, other different types of softwares. And it's been, I think, for the most part, positive. I myself personally have found it to be more useful, especially during our annual meeting season for co-ops and condos. Being able to log in, our presentations have been, I think, better received, and just also getting more people to be part of the meeting as opposed to trying to coordinate a time in person to meet has been a big advantage. As things have gotten a little bit better on a health perspective, and people want to come together and see each other, there's been this push for what's called a hybrid annual meeting, where those that would like to attend in person can, and those that like to attend virtually also can, and having that put together. I myself have been a part of a few of those, both in person and as the in-person presentation at a hybrid meeting, as well as also the virtual presentation at a hybrid meeting. And I just think from the perspective that I've seen as the outside professional, as the accountant, how different meetings have been set up. Some of them have been fantastic, and some of them I think have been a little bit not fantastic. And I figured this would be a good opportunity as we're in the summer. We do have a whole slew of full annual meetings that are coming up that may want to do hybrid meetings, that we have the opportunity to kind of work and give you some ideas as to how you should go about setting that up if you like. Obviously, from a personal opinion, I still think going completely virtual is probably better than doing the hybrid. So that's my personal opinion. But again, I think there is a way that you can do the meeting hybrid and to still have a productive meeting for your unit owners and shareholders or any other industry, not specifically co-op and condo. So what are our goals, right? What are the goals when you're setting up a hybrid meeting? So the first goal is you need to hear who's speaking in person. So if you have people, let's say in a conference room, or a lot of times we have meetings in laundry rooms or lobbies. So you have a person speaking in person, the people virtually, you need to hear them. And then on the flip side, you need to hear who's speaking virtually. So if you have someone speaking, I've been in an annual meeting where I spoke virtually on Zoom with people in person. They need to be able to hear me clearly as well. As an added bonus of seeing each other, I mean, that would be part of it. We want to make sure we have a good a visual of one another. And then submitting and answering questions in person, right? That's a big part of all of our meetings, which is our presentations by the officers, by the board members, by your accountant, your engineer, your attorneys, and any other professionals. We want to be able to get those questions submitted in the right way. So on Zoom, obviously, it's one way to do it is you have the chat or Q&A function. And then what about if you're in person? How do you make sure that the people on Zoom or on the virtual platform can hear or hear the questions that are going on? And just going back to the first slide we had before as well, we need to make sure that everyone can hear each other and everyone is part of the meeting. And I think just kind of those goals can be resolved very easily. I don't think we're not talking rocket science here. We're talking about easy solutions. One of the options Adi is going to talk about is the Zoom room, which we have here on the screen. And then if that's not something you want to potentially look at Zoom room, the other peripherals, other options that we have there. I did gloss over the last item on this last slide, which is the election, because it is, again, part of the meeting. The reason for the annual meeting, for the most part, is to elect the board of directors. There are platforms out there. We've helped some boards work through a software called Election Buddy, which is, once the initial setup is done, a very easy to use software. There are other full service providers like Honest Ballot. Even Building Link has, of my understanding, I was at a meeting that they have their own election service that you could subscribe for and pay for. But once you go through these steps and understanding what your goals are and what you need to take care of, it's really something. And there might be an initial investment, which Adi will talk about, to get. It's easy to get there. Now, we'll talk on one more high level point before we get into Adi's presentation. The goal, right, going back to needing to hear who's speaking in person, the goal there is that there, and I've seen this at annual meetings, even in person, making sure there's a microphone, or you want to have a microphone in person that's hooked up to your computer or a device that's projecting virtually. So that's very important. And then anyone asking questions, either the questions need to be repeated or those questions need to be spoke into the microphone so everyone can hear. And then the second point, need to hear who's speaking virtually. The classic example I keep giving is I was at an annual meeting, let's say I was in March or April, where there were 4 or 5 iPads circulating the boardroom. Or it was actually, I think it was like something they rented. And I was being, as iPad audio, when you're sitting in front of it, is good, but when you're, passing it around to 20 or 30 or even 40 people, you're not going to catch everything. I feel like I spoke to myself or whoever else was on Zoom. In person, no one really heard me, but it's important that we have a good speaker or something that's available for them to hear you. And like I said, the seeing each other is also nice, but not as imperative. So just those high level ideas, just understanding we want something to capture audio on the virtual side and in person. We want audio to be able to hear in person and virtually. And once you understand what's there and what's available, that will make the hybrid meeting a little bit more doable and definitely more efficient and effective that we have. So understanding those ideas, I want to turn it over to Adi from Zoom, who will walk us through some different options that Zoom has, and also different ways that Zoom recommends to set these up.
Hi, everybody. Avi, I just have to take
I'll give you the controls.
My screen, and you should see my screen right now. Great. Thanks, Avi. Thanks for the introduction. Quick, just 1 minute about myself. I'm the group product manager for financial services and enterprise at Zoom. About 2 years in the company. Prior to that, I was actually working within the financial services side on the IP, responsible for unified communication and video conferencing companies like Bank of America and AAG. And most of my career was actually mostly around video communications and collaborations. I want to stress on build on what Avi has mentioned regarding hybrid work. This is actually becoming very popular right now when people start getting back to the office. So we're seeing it also from corporate America, and the need to have the good mix and the experience when people are actually getting into together into a room. And some people actually remote, either working from the office, from the home office or on the road, and trying to bridge that gap of experience. So I'll cover few options that are extremely popular. Zoom has deployed tens of millions of those already across the world, and I'll give you a little bit of more of the few options, whether you want to go all in or whether you want to do more of a entry-level option. So, and there's a lot to learn beyond that, and we can provide you. Avi can probably send you afterwards some links. You can do some additional reading about all the options. So let's start with a video room. Video room, a video room. When you create a video room, and we call it a Zoom room. What's actually it is. At the end of the day, it's really the same software that Zoom is running on your personal devices, but actually runs within environment, either on an appliance or a preset environment that provides you the ability to join the meeting in a very simple way, see participant on the screen, on a video screen. Again, this is not a new concept. Actually, room systems were actually predating desktop collaboration, but a lot of things happen since. It's so much easier to use than before, and it actually provides you the full Zoom experience end to end. Also, it allows you to schedule the meeting, to join the meeting with one click. But again, the bottom line is that the experience that you're getting is solid, and it provides you the camera, the microphone, the speaker that has the best pickup for whatever space you would like to use, and in some cases even bring it with you and set it up in a very simple way and very fast way wherever you actually want to go. It doesn't need to be stuck or bolted to the wall. There is a lot of options that you can take it with you. So the functionality provides high level quality. People within the room can actually see all the participants on the big screen, and people at home or remote can see all the participants in the room. And we have some intelligence that we have implemented within that as well. You can do wireless sharing from your device. Very simple to do wireless sharing from your device. You can even join from your device without video or audio in order to see the share screen if you want it closer to you. Very easy to schedule. At the end of the day, you just add that resource within the invite of the meeting, and when you go into the room, it's just you see the meeting that is supposed to happen. You click on a button, you're within the meeting. Nothing to remember or nothing to be to dial. We have a slew of partners and an appliance that provides appliances to create any type of room experience, going from a smaller deployment all the way to very large rooms and anything in between. There is no, we do not have any exclusivity with any of those vendors, and you can see most of those are very known names within audio or video or cameras that can be picked up. Most of those can be picked up in Amazon and some of them, by the way, we do have actually a plan that Zoom provides, which is a monthly subscription that actually provides you the hardware as well without any investment ahead of time from your perspective. Let me go quickly through some of the options that we have from a Zoom room. One of the options is all-in-one solution, which is basically a touch screen. Nothing to put on the desk. This goes either on a cart or on the wall, and everything is done from there. Just go there and join the meeting. Another thing, it provides you the ability to do whiteboarding. But again, nothing to, there's no appliances, no peripherals. That's all in. Microphones, speakers, cameras, and of course the screen itself. If you want to go a little bit, you want to piecemeal it, which is also an option. There is very simple packages that you can put together very simply, and actually can build your own video room. Starting from a small computer or a NUC, which works in a kiosk mode. Very simple to install and deploy. A regular Windows-based device can actually run that. You can controller in the room can be an iPad that is dedicated to the room, and the microphone, speakers, and camera is provided by this all-in-one, let's call it a video soundbar that is provided into the room. Again, all you need to do, there is a simple setup for that environment, but that provides you the full experience of a Zoom room with all the benefits that you're getting out of it. A little bit, let's touch on the features. So, as I've mentioned, very easy to control the room. Everything comes from a panel, ability to share, to mute the entire room, even to control, to see the list of participants. Everything is provided to you by a panel. Again, most of the Zoom rooms that you can get actually come with their own panel and the exact same experience regarding the vendor. Or again, you can bring your own and actually convert an iPad to be the controller for that room, and can be, and can be set up in such a way that it's actually dedicated to the room. I've talked about the calendar integration. We have multiple ability to integrate within the calendar. So the actual room exists within your calendaring system, and it's all about just getting that room and inviting him into the meeting. And once you do that, the room is automatically getting programmed. All you need to do when you want to join, just step into the room and you'll see the meeting name on your panel. All you have to do is click join into the meeting. I've mentioned some smart things, and Avi mentioned about really the ability to see everybody in the room. And this has been challenged for a long time, because even if you get into a room, especially if it is a wide room and people are starting to move, you get the video of the entire room, and some people can be very remote. And Avi mentioned you want to see who is speaking. It may be a problem because the individual is somewhere in the at the end of the room, and you don't really get to see who is speaking. We've developed a smart, it's actually artificial intelligence based solution that is optimized and is being used by most of our vendors, that we basically scan the entire video that is that the room is actually sending. And actually the room does it on the spot. It identifies the individuals in the room and basically creates for each and every one of them, or two, it has the ability to actually do even two or one or two individuals, and put them into a screen like they are, joining remotely, like you're at home. And then we actually provide you in addition, the video for the entire room. And that does it automatically. If someone speaks, if you have more than X amount of individuals in the room, it knows what to do. If someone moves from one to side, it actually very intelligent, knows how to identify you, and basically it's more of a digital zoom for each and every of the participant. Again, a very, very exciting feature. We have some videos on our website that can actually show you real time how it works. But again, I think that solves the issue of actually seeing everybody. This is up to here. It's really around Zoom Room, which is again a solution that is tailored and built for those types of spaces. However, there are other options to actually join, especially if you are traveling or if you want to create an ad hoc meeting space. and going into a specific location, maybe carrying some things with you, and you still really want to meet in that person to person, but still have people remotely that wants to join. So again, it's also very simple. The concept is actually called bring your own device or bring your own codec. So basically you use your own laptop, right? You decide who is the individual that needs to connect to the call. And then there's few options on what are the appliances that would work with you with that. At the end of the day, this is USB based. You don't have to reattach anything to the room. So let's say the room already had a screen, or you have a projector that you get or being sent to you, you set the projector up. You set a device that this is just for example, this is the Poly Studio USB, but we have like 3 or 4 vendors, including Logitech and other, that provides a very similar component. That's a USB-based device. Think about like your Logitech camera that you put on top of your screen. Think about it's a much bigger one that also includes the speakers and the microphones. And in a very, by the way, smart and intelligent way that it actually picks up the individuals and without getting background noise. So that's a very cool device. All you have to do is plug it into the power and connect it with USB into your device. You connect the camera, so you can connect the screen or the projector using HDMI, whatever cable. And within the Zoom client, all you have to do is just choose the proper devices, the camera, the microphone, and that's it. So everything that you see basically on your screen is going to be shown large within the space, and the camera and the speakers and the microphones are going to be high-end devices that are actually going to pick up everything in the room. So this is a very simple, inexpensive, few $100s to actually create a setup like that. There is another option, also relatively simple, is to use a camera, USB camera, probably better than what you pick up from Logitech for $50. This is you probably need a little bit better camera. There are smart camera like the Poly Eagle Eye Cube that knows how to identify people and zoom automatically people, and has a wide angle that can actually pick up the entire room and put on top of it the special feature that Zoom provided that can actually digitally cut and paste the screen for the participant. You can place again a camera on the screen or on a tripod. So that basically takes care of the camera side of things. You connect them to your laptop, and you can get USB speakerphone. USB speakerphone much better than the microphones and speakers that you have on your laptop. It has a 360 degrees pickup, and it cancels noise. This is, for example, a Poly speakerphone. Again, there are more than enough compatible and certified appliances that can be used, that can be placed on the desk, connected to your laptop, can pick up from remote. It's also the very big and good speaker that everybody can actually hear. And again, carrying it with you and create a pop-up room environment. So this is another option that we have. And again, still everything is run from your laptop. All the screen share, what remotely is being shared, is going to be, displayed on the screen. So very, very solid experience. I've mentioned different Microsoft and speakers. Those are all speaker phones. Again, it's very good because it's both provides you with the speaker and the microphone themselves with echo cancellation and noise cancellation as well. And again, I've mentioned to you just one of the cameras. We have multiple cameras, USB cameras that can actually connect to the device. I think this is where my presentation stops. And again, I'll pass it back to Avi. Let me just unshare my screen.
Thank you, Adi. That was I think that the goal here is how many plugs do you want? Do you want one you want one USB? And remember, as if for our client base, and probably for a lot of people, it's what's more effective, what's simpler. You don't want to start dealing with Bluetooth and trying to connect to Bluetooth. You want to be able to come in 15 minutes before the meeting. As you say, plug and play, make sure everything's set up. And the nice thing about some of these options is that you really could just take them and bring them with you. So, if you're a managing agent, or if you happen to be sitting on multiple boards and you want to invest in an audio, a video bar, an audio bar, and bring it from meeting to meeting, you can do that, and it's an easy solution. You're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars to set up a room with a projector and high def speakers and all that stuff. You could find other solutions. I know it mentioned on the bottom of the screens, but a lot of these devices you could look up on zoom.us on their website under support. There's devices. You could look up those, just anything that we mentioned in the call today, just in terms of you want to look into them specifically. There was a question that came in from Robert Crook. So Zoom rooms require additional hardware to be set up someplace. I think the answer is yes.
So outside of the device itself in the room, no. So the only thing that needs to be set is the Zoom room appliance itself, right? If it's a device that is an appliance, you basically connect it to the Ethernet and connect it to the power and turn it on. That's it. You'll need to log in to Zoom like you log in from your device, but that's it. That's the investment. And again, there are a few that are, as I said, pop up, very easy, put on a screen and you're done. There are some more involved ones that are either all-in-one that already include the screen, or you want to integrate it all together. But again, as I mentioned, there is simple ones that are like all-in-one devices that really can just sit on top of the TV, and that's it. And can have a panel, and then you have a cable that runs into the table with a panel that you can actually control the device.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. And a follow-up question from Robert: is this something that boards themselves should expect managing agents to support, or should they do them themselves? So that I'll answer that question. It's really I can't give a blanket answer. I think if you have board, especially if this is a methodology that boards would like to continue for their monthly meeting, because my understanding is most boards have moved, or at least the ones that I've spoken to, that their monthly board meetings have moved to Zoom, just because it's just been more effective scheduling wise, and also for the managing agents, so they're not going out to the buildings once a month, and if they're managing multiple properties, being out and then having to travel late at night back home after the meetings, it might be something that the building may want to invest in on their own. In terms of the supporting of it, I know that some managing agents have bigger accounts with Zoom. They'll have enterprise, I don't know if it's called enterprise accounts, but they're larger corporate accounts with Zoom that maybe this could be an add-on to, that they could support maybe the software licensing and making sure it's set up. I know some agents have invested in having dedicated employees at their offices that run the Zoom meetings and make sure everything's working on a technical basis. But obviously, if my other side of this is if you have a board that is technically, is savvy with technology, and you have someone on the board or someone, even one of the shareholders or the unit owners, that willing to participate themselves in doing it, then I would keep it on the board level. It becomes your device, and it becomes it's the buildings, and then you get to use it going forward. So I hope that answered your question. We do have a hand raised, So I guess, I haven't done, I guess Adi and I have nothing else that we wanted to add. The last slide we had, which I'm not going to pull up, is just that we want to make, the idea is to make this simple, easy, and effective. So I'm going to allow Andrew to talk. And Andrew, do you want to?
Thanks. Much easier than typing the question.
Sure.
First of all, thank you. Adi, are you in Eretz Israel?
Adi, you're muted.
You're muted.
I'm actually about 300 yards from Avi's. My home office is behind the Fairlawn office
right.
of Avi.
Just want to
So
make sure
I'm
you
in
and your
Fairlawn.
family are staying safe. But you're in New York, so that's okay.
I'm in New Jersey. Yeah.
Sorry, New Jersey. So
yeah, my family is back in Israel and all safe. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for doing this, but I'll tell you, I still see challenges. I think that your setups that you talked about are fine for maybe a small room and a small group, but Avi, your firm does a couple of buildings with us. I have 60, 70 people in a fairly big room, and I can't imagine having a hybrid meeting without multiple cameras and somebody sitting there managing this entire process. So, I thought maybe you guys would tell me something a little different at this meeting, but I can't see a hybrid meeting that we're going to allow the participants that are on Zoom to be active. All we've done this year so far is one camera and a speaker, and basically said to everybody who's on computer that you have the option of being here. And if you're not here, you're just going to have to be a viewer. It's going to essentially be a webinar for you. And I really don't know if you have anything different here without having some serious hardware. Am I crazy to say that?
No, you're not crazy to say that. And actually the one, I was at a meeting of a building, it was about, I would say about 300 unit building where they had 100 people in person, and they did it at a hotel conference room.
Yeah.
And they had, like you said, hired a dedicated person to do the meeting, to run the meeting from the back. But one of the things that I took away from it was that the setup, I don't think, was so sophisticated. There are speakers that I think Adi could, maybe recommend a few that will project the sound. So actually what happened was at that meeting, there were some professionals that made presentations from Zoom. And we didn't necessarily see their screens. I can't agree. They actually tried sharing the screen, but no one was able to see it. But the audio, hearing what they had to say, was done very well. And I think that was more of the takeaway for me, was that if you're going to do this and have someone speak remotely from the virtual meeting, you have to have that the right speaker to do so. And yes, you're correct. You can't have like this. You can't have unmuting people, letting them ask questions. Everything needs to be run through the chat. That meeting also, what they did was even everyone in person had to submit their questions on an index card. And this way it was all brought up to the dais, and the managing agent, or if the board, I forgot who it was, read the questions into the mic. So everyone heard it there in person, and also on Zoom or on the virtual platform they were using. So yes, I agree with you that if you want to do it like they did, you probably have to spend, they probably spend like $5,000-$6,000 between the room rental and the technician and the speakers, whatever it is. But if you have, there are speakers, I think that you could put into, let's say, a board. Thinking of a client that we work together on, in their lobby, putting together a speaker that's attached to the device, that if, let's say, I would present, or if somebody else would ask a question, it is audible to everyone sitting there.
And they do. I know they have the cameras that move to whoever's speaking, so that for a small room, that's an option. We have set a corporate mentality: no more in-person board meetings. So this may actually be a good solution for
the board meetings. Yes,
there are some buildings that are still pushing for a hybrid board meeting, but I'm not going to go in person anymore. We've told all our clients that. So a camera like this setup is probably pretty good for an individual building board. Yes. I certainly think that's certainly doable. Adi, one of the challenges that we have at the annual is the attendance taking. I don't know, does Zoom have any tool for like a sign in or something like that? Because I just been doing it manually. I put everybody in the waiting room and I try to get everybody's name, but God forbid somebody change their name and put their apartment down, or they have a real legit name on the screen name. It's so painful to take attendance.
Yeah.
I'll be laughing because you know what I'm
No,
I
talking
know.
we do
I
that. Yeah,
will. I sit there for 15 minutes. You know, when someone, you know, a managing agent goes there, can, you know, who's iPhone 2, who's iPhone 3, you know, who's 917, blah blah blah, and yeah,
There's Zoom solution for that.
Adi seems to have something.
yeah. Again, it's we cannot cover all bases because again, there's always the last one that will try to use his phone, and you have no clue who that individual is outside that he is actually a participant. That cannot much impact the meeting, but we do have some customizable forms that you can actually put together ahead of time and ask questions and get information and have people actually register to the call and provide the appropriate name, and when they join in, they actually are identified and authenticated. So there is a way to create some type of again, does it solve all use cases of people actually trying to join from phone or everything? No. However, it really provides you, first of all, a level of security, add some level of authentication for the users, and also the ability to get information ahead of time and identify the screen names ahead of time. So part of that
Can you share that with Avi so he can email? And
I
also,
can show
are you gonna share the PDF that you guys did?
Yeah.
We could all get
Yeah,
it.
that's kind of
We're gonna share the recording and we're
PDF.
gonna share
That's
the
great.
PDFs. Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
no problem. Thank you, Andrew. Okay. All right, those were good questions, good use cases. And yeah, as like I said, but you know, I said at the beginning, it's not the recommended, as Andrew you know, very well you know, testified, if that's the word we could use, that it's not, you know, the hybrid is not the best way to do it. But I think this is, if you're being forced into a corner, or this is an option we want to try, it definitely, these were the kind of the ideas that Dee and I wanted to share on how to do it the most effectively and efficiently. Yeah, so I think that's gonna wrap up our webinar. I don't see any other questions in the chat or in the Q&A. So Adi, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone for listening, and hopefully I'll see you at your next virtual annual meeting. Take care.